Hello fellow gamers, welcome back to another episode of the Hunting Guide. You are here with Kelldal and we are hunting Gobul today. So Gobul is another Leviathan, so newer edition as of Monster Hunter Tri, and adding in the whole underwater fighting and all of that. Gobul is probably one of my least favorites to fight just because I just don't really find the fight that entertaining. But that's kind of besides the point. Not really a hard fight. It doesn't really have any strong elements attached to it. It can cause water blight, but doesn't have really any strong water attacks or anything like that. But it can paralyze, and that can get kind of annoying if you get hit by that. And so we'll probably end up seeing that during the hunt. So today I am bringing with me a thunder weapon, so chain slaughter, and longsword. Because that is what Gobul is weakest against. Another good element to use is fire as well. So either one of those would be pretty good to use against Gobul. The other things that I am bringing with me other than my potions and all my normal stuff are some sonic bombs. Gobul likes to hide in the mud and travel around that way, so you can use sonic bombs when it buries itself to knock it out and kind of stun it a little bit and get off a few hits. And I am also going to bring with me some frogs because, like in previous versions of Monster Hunter with Epioth, you can actually fish them out using frogs. So we'll see how that works a little bit later on. You can only do it in Area 4 on Flooded Forest, and I believe Area 10 in Deserted Islands once you have any missions or if Gobul starts showing up out in Moga Woods. So those are the only really two spots that you can do it. You can't be like actively fighting with Gobul while you're fishing out. He's just going to be doing attacks and stuff like that. So it's usually good to do it right at the beginning. Gives you some good hits off, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so here we are in Flooded Forest. So I've got my hunter armor on so I can see that Gobul is hanging out in Area 4. So grab some stuff here. So if you're using a bowgun, it does give you some sub shots for fighting underwater. Some mini oxygen supplies, which frankly, whatever. There's plenty of bubbles around to use, and you're pretty close to the surface at all times in this map, so whatever, I'll take them. And then also, it does give you 2 easy sonic bombs, so if you do bring your own sonic bombs, try and use these guys first, or, you know, you can just go without them and just use the 2 that it gives you during the quest. Sonic bombs are kind of annoying to make, because you got to make the gunpowder, which uses the fire herbs, which aren't that cheap to be farmed, so you know, whatever you want to use. And sonic bombs aren't that big of a deal. You can easily do this quest without doing the sonic bombs. Another thing to note, if you are doing this quest first off and you haven't seen the cutscene, like it shows first time you meet a monster, the cutscene is in Area 6. So if you want to fish out Gobul with the frog, you're going to have to activate the cutscene first before Gobul will be in Area 4. So just keep that note. If you don't have any frogs, you can actually gather some in Area 2 of this map. And I believe Area 10 on Deserted Island as well. Alright, so grab my frogs right here. So the fishing spot is right up here in this little kind of little weedy area. So just move right up until you can see that X ends up going away there. There we go. And use my frog. Throw it on out there. You can see the frog, it's kind of a red thing down there. Oh, I hear some movement. Gobul's coming up. Here's his lantern. Alright, so I don't have to do anything. I haven't pressed anything. It automatically goes into this little cutscene right here and gets fished out. So you don't have to press anything. Does drop a shiny. He's going to be flopping around right there. So if you want to cut off the tail, go for the tail right now. Get off some nice hits there. And now Gobul is going to be fighting on land for a little bit. before he ends up going back in there, which I much prefer to fight Gobul on land. Alright, so Gobul is this funny looking fish, leviathan creature. Got these spikes that come out of the head there, has this lantern up on the front. If he hits you with his spikes on the tail or on his back with certain attacks, you will get paralyzed. So he does have this tail sweep attack, very similar to Royal Ludroth's tail sweep attack, where he kind of just swishes it back and forth. And so you want to keep note of that attack, especially if you're trying to cut the tail off, because if you get paralyzed, there's nothing really to do to avoid it if you get hit by that attack from getting paralyzed. You know, you're going to end up falling down until you get hit by another monster. Keep these little guys alive, because they can actually knock you out of that paralyzation, so, you know, keep that in mind. If there's smaller monsters around, it's much better to get hit by a smaller monster to knock you out of that paralyzation than being hit by Gobul. So, alright, I'm going to get this shiny before it disappears. Alright, so here is his lightning stun attack, or just kind of stun attack. So the lantern goes off and creates this big flash, very similar to just how a flash bomb works with monsters. So it will stun you. So as you can see, I'm not facing him right now. It stunned the monsters over there, so it can stun smaller monsters. Here's his tail swipe attack, so that's what it looks like when you get paralyzed. And as you can see, I can't do anything. Cha-Cha can't help me, or anything like that, and then, you know, get hit by Gobul. So be wary of those paralyzation attacks. They're really annoying. If you're playing multiplayer, your friends can't help you get out of it. So alright, so it looks like we get to fight underwater. Alright, so Gobul's right behind me. So most likely he's going to bury himself down there. So there he is. He's buried down. So he is going to do his vacuum suck attack. So when you get hit by this attack, very likely you're going to get stunned if you get sucked all the way into his mouth. So keep an eye out for that. As you can see, I do have water blight on me, so my stamina is going to go down very fast. So it's not fun to get hit by that attack. If you can get kind of to the side of him and get on the side that he's kind of moving away from, so he's not moving towards you, you can get off some pretty good hits while he's underground. So you can keep that in mind too if you're kind of in a good position when he ends up burying himself down. Alright, so he moves around quite a bit. So that's why I like fighting him on land. It's hard to get on some really nice hits when he's underwater, like it is with, you know, most monsters. But just in particular, Gobul is just like, it's constantly moving around. He can attack from pretty much all sides with his barrel rolls and then his biting attacks out in the front. So there's not really a good spot to be attacking him from. I am going to try and get his tail cut off, so I'm going to focus on that for right now. But if you've noticed, I haven't gotten a lot of good hits off on his tail because he keeps moving around, changes where his tail is. When you get behind him, he'll do some of those charge attacks where he just charges forward and then all of a sudden he's, you know, on the other side of the area. So really kind of annoying. Focus a lot on dodging, you know, pick your attacks, you know, carefully. Alright, so we are back on land here. So generally, he is going to be doing his burying himself under the ground, usually when he is underwater. He can do it on land, so as you can see right there, and you can see him as he's moving around there, so you can actually still hit him. If you do enough damage to him, he'll actually get knocked out and kind of stunned a little bit. So if you're a good attack position from the side, you can attack from the side, and that'll keep you from getting hit all that much. But other than that, you can see where he's moving, you can see where he's facing if you look really closely. And again, I'm going to be focusing on the tail. It's much easier to hit the tail when he is on land. He doesn't move around as fast, so it's easier to position yourself. And the other part of the body that you can break is his lantern. If you break his lantern, his stun attack, where he does the flash with the light, will not work. So he will still try to do it, but he won't be able to, get that off on you. All right, so he is now buried himself. He is hiding. So if you see the little airweeds that are right in front of me in the middle of the screen there, they're a little bit lighter, brighter in color than the other ones. So that is where he is buried. You can see there's kind of those really frequent puffs of bubbles that come out, a lot different looking than the normal bubbles that come out that you can get air from. So you can use a sonic bomb to end up stunning him, knock him out. You can actually go down and carve his tentacle things as well. So I'm going to go ahead and use a sonic bomb right here. So I'm going to throw that right off there. Wasn't close enough to him. And I did not get it off. He ended up coming out. All right. So I'll try and get those off again later. All right, so that attack right here, where he goes underground and kind of launches himself straight out, that is one of his strongest attacks. You definitely want to keep an eye out for that. You don't want to get hit by it. It is not fun to get hit with. Alright, so that's what it looks like when you kind of knock him out there. So he's going to be kind of half buried and kind of move himself out. Get some good hits on his face right there. Alright, so he was limping away right there. He didn't move very far, so it was kind of hard to see his limp. But what he does when he's limping is he'll move to this section right here in Area 3. And as you can see, since I have him tracked with my armor, he moves straight to Area 8. So if you don't have him tracked and you're not used to fighting him, that can be kind of disorienting because Area 8 is pretty far away from where we are right now. And he pretty much just kind of teleports over there. I guess he's, digging through the ground or something like that. So if you are low on potions or something like that, this is actually a pretty good time to go ahead and go on over. You can go through Area 1, go rest at the camp, and then come back through this way and jump down into Area 8, or even take the back route out of the camp area to Area 6 and then swim to Area 8. He will be buried down. So as you can see, I can't see where he is exactly with my tracking. So he will be buried down there. So let's see if I can get a sonic bomb off on him. So let's see, where is he at? There he is. So little areas right there. You see the little puffs of bubbles coming out. There's his body right there. Throw that out. Kind of stun him a little bit, knock him out. Hit him on the face. See if I can maybe break that lantern. Alright, so that is the Gobul fight. So again, it can be very hard to carve that tail. I didn't get the tail carved off this fight. So if you're trying to get that carve, you know, try and get them on land as much as possible. Bring those frogs with you, fish them out at the beginning there, and get as much strikes on that tail as possible. As you noticed, underwater, it is very hard to target that tail. He is constantly moving around, and you mostly get body shots off on him a lot. If you want to break that lantern, you know, bring something like a hammer or something, wail on him on the head. You can do it with a slicing weapon pretty easily. It's not as hard as it is with like Baroth or something like that. So you can still break it. You just have to do a lot of attacks on it and do enough damage to that head area. So other than that, pretty basic fight. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll catch you next time.